What's going on there, people? We're gonna watch ourselves the Moon Knight Super Bowl TV spot. Here, there's a good amount of new footage in here. We got Coy with us, who he knows Moon Knight a little bit better than John. If you guys can leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. Also, follow Coy on his YouTube channel, man. He is thebomb.com. Let's get to it.
I can't tell the difference. Between my waking life and dreams. It's been very difficult. The voice in your head. There's chaos in you. Embrace it.
Yes! Nice. Good catch.
The moon cape! Yes! Yes!
Oh, that's the joy I was hoping for.
Oh, that was so
The moon cape.
Moon cape! That is like 30 seconds of pure unadulterated glee. Oh, that was beautiful.
You know, for a 30-second spot, just giving us extensions and expansions upon scenes that we saw in the previous one.
So smart with the cadence use of the music to like, hey, by the way, it's only 30 seconds, but bring you in.
I love the fact that they use a day in that
it's
song.
perfect.
It really complements
I'd say it compliments.
Oscar Isaac, the actor, very well.
Also, this is reminding me of what I wanted Spawn to be. Like, it gave
little
me,
bit.
like, good Spawn vibes, like what I hoped Spawn would be.
You know, I was thinking that, I mean, we got to talk a little bit more about the footage here, but I was seeing that, I think I saw you talk about it online, the Mr. Knight footage?
Oh, dude,
the
okay.
entertainment-
Mr.
Well,
Knight.
Yeah, I thought they would show him in here, especially since it was in the article.
But surprisingly didn't, because if I was putting out a trailer, I'd be like 30 seconds of old stuff, 29 seconds, 1 second of Mr. Knight, if you're going to put it out in the
Yeah,
Empire
yeah.
thing.
Who's
Mr. Knight is another persona of Moon Knight who is more of a detective, more of a sleuth, kind of a pompous. He's got like an arrogance to him. They all do, but he's especially like, but what's cool about him is that would allow a different nuance to, if one is super reckless, one is doing all this, you've got one guy that might be trying to like wrangle them and control the madness. And that was introduced in the Warren Ellis Declan Shalvey run, which wasn't until Moon Knight had been around for like 45 years. So Mr. Knight is deep into the mythology. Some of the only kickback has been that Mr. Knight was being introduced too soon, but that's the difference between adaptation and translation. You don't want to translate comic books to screen, you want to adapt them to screen. It doesn't always make sense to tell your stories in chronological order, it doesn't always make sense to have the characters evolve in the same way, because you're going to have Oscar Isaac being able to give you a lot more information with nuanced glances than even a panel can. So what you want to do is make sure that you've got an eye line, and I think our eye line to Mark Spector's insanity is going to be Mr. Knight. Clip it!
I stopped listening halfway through.
I know. I had a lot to say
I
about
was like,
45 years of
when are we
content.
going to get pizza?
I do need pizza. I was promised pizza. I don't know what the score is. Is there a game today?
I don't even care.
I'm locked in this room.
Right now, M&M's performing, I bet.
Oh no! The only thing whiter than Moon Knight.
Actually, I had this thing here that they released the official synopsis for this, and I remember when we were doing the official trailer reaction a little bit ago, that we were like, oh, in the comic they actually mainly follow Mark Spector at first. And according to the Marvel.com, their synopsis is the series follows Stephen Grant, a mild-mannered gift shop employee who becomes plagued with blackouts and memories of another life. Stephen discovers he has dissociative identity disorder and shares a body with Mark Spector. As Stephen, Mark's enemies converge upon them, they must navigate their complex identities while thrust into a deadly mystery among the powerful gods of Egypt. They're kind of doing a reversal, which kind of works within who the Moon Knight character is. Instead of following Mark Spector at first and then discovering the other personalities, we're gonna hang out with Stephen Grant first.
And that was something I kind of theorized in our trailer breakdown, was like, I'd be wondering if he's going to find out how Moon Knight happened while finding out he is actually Mark Spector. Like, uncovering his OG
That's
self
trippy.
as Mark Spector, being like, I
That's
was
really
a mercenary and now I'm a Moon Knight? And
also, Stephen Grant's more likable as a human being.
He is more like, and
versus
his
Mark
name is
Spector.
probably, like, the guy's named Mark Spector and he's a Moon Knight. Like, he's a little more Marvel's able to make things a little bit more, like, digestible in that way. Because by the time you're in episode 3, you're like, bro's name is Mark Spector. Like, it kind of works out to normalize those things. And it's also really interesting, you see Khonshu in the opening of this 30 seconds, where it's, like, enveloping him, and it looks like, not willingly. Like, it looks like there's a bit of a takeover. So it might be interesting to see Mark Spector take over Stephen Grant. It might be interesting to see the Moon Knight take over embodying it, because Khonshu definitely looks like an antagonist, and he is in the comic books while also being the thing that Moon Knight follows. Khonshu
Yeah.
is this foreboding presence, this ominous thing that tells him what to do, but it's not always willingly.
You know, Kevin Feige was actually speaking about recently, and I'm curious to hear John's thoughts on this, was speaking about recently how this one, they really are pushing the envelope in terms of how dark they can go. So it sounds like they are really trying to actually push the envelope on, can we get violent, you know? And then with those final moments too, with the, oh my God, I'm not forgetting the name of the weapon. You know the name of the weapon? What is that weapon called?
Moon dopeness.
Moonerang.
It's one of his,
Yeah,
it's good.
Moonerang.
Yeah, sure, why not?
A Mooney.
But yeah, John, talk on what I was talking on. Talking.
I would love to see an increase in the caliber of darkness, especially in the physical realm. I guess I am suspect of a claim like that, given, I mean, this definitely does look like, in terms of just what lore and mythology it's borrowing from, and has potential to get sort of dark and in a mystical sort of darkness, which can feel very occultish, which is very edgy. I don't expect this necessarily to be a step up in terms of violence, especially because there is a fantasy element here, but I can imagine it feeling that much more intense and that much more horror movie inspired. And what I do appreciate is that, looking at this as compared to Doctor Strange, you know, they both cross these mystical and magical barriers, yet they look totally different from each other.
True.
And this doesn't look like it's going to get swept up into that. So I like that you have this more personal and more contained and potentially also horrific in a totally opposite way story that's about to unfold.
They just gave it a TV 14 rating today, so it is a little bit more brutal, it's
Nice.
a little more zesty.
Whoa.
Also, on March 1st, which is merely 2 weeks away,
You're about to bring it up.
they're losing all the shows because they were owned by Marvel, because they're Marvel characters, leased to Netflix. Everybody's like, oh, the Netflix shows. Well, yeah, for a time. Those shows could land on Hulu. Those shows could land at Disney Plus, and then you could build out this Marvel Knights universe, starting with Moon Knight, because Moon Knight and Daredevil are much more simpatico than your
Yes.
Doctor Strange. I honestly think Fantastic Four is going to lean Doctor Strange Cosmic. I think Daredevil is going to lean Moon Knight and Spider-Man, and I think that you're going to have this beautiful universe that isn't just grounded in cosmic anymore. You're going to have grounded, cosmic, R-rated, supernatural. Blade likely not to cross over with Eternals again. Like, that was a wonder, because that's going to go up here, and like, it's going to be really cool when you have even more people that don't feel like comic books are their thing to have this gateway. Like, this is a character that is unlike anything else we've seen so far, and it's going to bring in new audiences, and just like Harry Styles will.
So I think with buying the Netflix stuff, I think they would want to put it on Disney Plus, and then they would have to figure out how to, move the audience forward where they can handle more R-rated material. Because they're going to have to eventually get there.
If you were 8 years old when you saw Iron Man, you're 22 now. I'm sorry to say it. That is just how it is.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, as we've evolved this universe, we have aged. And I think it is the way to keep this going, is having more R-rated things, having, my boy Deadpool be the proper tone.
Sure.
It was a fun little experiment with your Christmas movie. I had fun. I enjoyed it. That's not the character. So if you want Moon Knight, you want Deadpool, you want these characters, you want people to enjoy Punisher, you want Johnny Bernthal to come over, you play in the right sandbox. And in the European markets, you've got Star, I think is the name of the network, that
Yes.
has, a little bit more adult-rated content. So when they announced that, right now you've got R-rated movies alongside Disney Plus stuff in Europe. When they announced that at D23 2 years ago, I was like, oh, that's how you get Deadpool. Maybe Moon Knight and Daredevil is how all that comes together, and it looks like this is the beginning of that.
I agree.
Good.
I agree with your sentences.
We should get pizza.
I agree with your sentences. Not until Lord of the Rings trailers. All right, guys.
starving me.
Leave your thoughts down below. Let's get to it.